So taking all this in total, Kevin, I'll start with you here. What elements of the 2014 playoff do you think improve the sport or improve college sports as a whole? Any, some, all?
I mean, look, I think in this climate where people don't seem to care about anything other than making the playoff, we are in a playoff obsessed world. I think moving to 24 keeps more teams engaged down the stretch. I understand that it weakens maybe the meaning of some of these monster games late in the year, but I do buy the idea that more teams feeling like they are competing, more teams feeling like they are part of the process. Look, I'm a Northwestern grad. I've been real. There was ever zero chance that they would ever make a 14 playoff. There's a very small chance they would ever make a 12-team playoff unless, again, they Indiana it. 24 is doable. Like I've been at Northwestern when they've been a top 25 team. Like that's a path that I could see a world where they get, right. And so I buy that. I just don't know if that outweighs all of the headaches, challenges, changes, as you alluded to, sort of the breaking of the eggshells that we would get to get to this point. Is it worth that much for mid and low tier power conference teams to feel more involved in the championship process, even if they have no chance of winning the championship?
Right.
I'm selling. The only positive that I see is the additional first round games on campus, like that to kind of spread the love in terms of the ability for a lot more teams to play those meaningful games, in December on campus against good opponents that teams want to see them play. Like that. That's the only positive that I see with the move to 24. And frankly, I think there's going to be a lot of unintended consequences that the commissioners and certainly the ADs. Maybe they thought about, but they really have not given a lot of weight to. I look at coaches. They always think, oh, an expanded playoff. All right, this is great. I'm going to be able to save my job every single year just by making an expanded 2014 playoff. Not thinking about the pressure, which we've seen a lot in basketball, certainly, right, Kevin? We've seen a lot of issues in terms of, all right, yeah, you can make the big dance, you can make the tournament. But there's pressure on there to win. James Franklin was fired after making a semifinal game the following year. There's going to be teams that, all right, you go to 3 straight playoff games. That's great. Look at Kalen DeBoer, right? You made the playoff. All right, you won a game. All right, well, that's not our standard. Our standard is to get deep in the tournament. And if you're not doing that consistently, all right, that pressure to ramp up, and maybe make a change when maybe a change isn't really warranted at some of these programs, that's going to be a thing if there is a move to 24 teams. It's not going to be, all right, no, you're expected to make the playoff every year. And all right, your quarterback gets hurt. Nope, not a lot of people are going to be reminded of that when they're looking at that overall record at the end of the year. So I think for a lot of these people, yes, it might be more money. Maybe, I think that there's still some open questions on that. It would be great to have some additional games on campus in the first or second round, but I think in totality, it really just kind of dilutes the product, and I think that's why a lot of people are not fans of this 24 teamer.
Yeah. To reiterate, the Twitter poll, the Threads poll, etc. Again, not scientific, not inclusive of every factor, but people aren't excited. People don't want this. People have no great push for this. Again, the FCS, yeah, they do a 24-team playoff. I don't hear people in the FCS saying it is the greatest thing. It is so awesome the way we do it. There's also far fewer complications to the way they do it than what would be entailed in this. Greg Sankey, free advice. I know you're just dying for free advice from this podcast. Hold the line. Hold the line at 16. I don't think 16 is perfect. I have liked 12, but I would sure rather see 16 than I would rather than see 24, which I think would really do damage to the regular season and would put a bunch of slightly better than mediocre teams into a playoff they have no chance of winning. So we'll keep discussing this as the playoff discussions go on. So, form your own opinions, get your outrage cranked up, and we'll keep talking about it.